Welcome to Gesara for Dummies. It is the 22nd of March 2025. Let's look at today's news from Professor William Liebenberg. Please like, share and subscribe. Join our Telegram group in the comments below. Also, see in comments attached links. Thank you. Let's go. The Gesara Law. Implementing a Gesara reform to make the routes healthy again. Trump signs executive order ending Department of Education to standing ovation. Flanked by school children of all backgrounds, President Trump has signed an executive order eliminating one of the most harmful bureaucracies in the U.S. federal government, the Department of Education, responsible for a simultaneous plummeting in education quality in the USA, and an unprecedented rise in the debt-to-income ratio for Americans aged 18 to 39 over a 50-year span. There is perhaps no single civilian agency more guilty of destroying America's future. The U.S. spends more money on education than anyone else, but ranks near bottom in terms of success. That's where we are, like it or not, and we've been there for a long time. Question: why is Trump able to begin the elimination of the Department of Education by executive order? Because at the heart of this military operation is the restoration of the Constitution. The 10th Amendment is all that people need to know. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states, or to the people. Was the federal government granted the power to regulate education in the original Constitution? The answer is no. Therefore, the department, like most of them, is, by definition, unconstitutional. It's a state issue. Period. End of story. That's an important narrative to show the normies how the Democrats have perpetrated waste and fraud. But I would argue it was that bullet to Reagan's neck that stopped this and many other plans he had to move back towards the Constitution. This time is different. This time, Trump has the backing of a military operation that's being used to eliminate fraud, sedition, and treason, and restore our rightful Constitution. If you think South Africa does not play a significant role in the geopolitical arena, then let me break only one area open for you. Simon's Town Naval Base is going to be the next hotspot. The same as we saw what happened with the Panama Canal. Simon's Town is strategically important as it controls the gateway between the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. Placing American ships there prevents any Eastern forces entering the Atlantic waters, which is America's buffer zone. Apart from being the most developed country in Africa with the most advanced banking systems in the world, it also has unlimited minerals. The Afrikaner nation is also one of the unique nations that created some of the best inventions and breaks records for population size. The much respected President Trump knows and appreciates all these things and will do all in his power to see the nation survive. This is why he is increasing pressure on the pro-communist useless ANC and spineless globalist DA coalition government. U.S. blocks $2.6 billion in climate funds to South Africa. The U.S. hit the brakes on a massive climate finance package for South Africa, preventing the approval of a $500 million disbursement that would have unlocked billions more in loans. The move adds to rising tensions, with Trump already halting aid, declaring South Africa's ambassador persona non grata, and pulling back from global climate commitments. With another approval attempt possible in June, concerns are growing that the U.S. may block the funds outright. President Trump is tired of the cancerous South African government due to them not protecting the minorities. Here are some examples of recent activities that make President Trump's blood boil. Julius Malema said we must never be intimidated by Elon Musk. Our friends will never be the United Kingdom, France, or the USA. They were never there for us during difficult times. Palestine was there for us. We are confronting racists with legislation and the Constitution to expropriate land without compensation. Kill the Boer. EFF leader Julius Malema ends his address with this political chant. South Africa and the government are presently divided into two parts. 1. Afrikaners and a portion of Indians, colors, and black who are conservative Christians and unrelentingly support the USA, Israel, and Western values. 2. The black community, some colors and Indians that support Palestine, Iran, Hamas, whose values are embedded in Islam or pagan ancestor spirits. Now, Christian nation Russia with President Putin, who is grossly misunderstood by most South Africans, sides with President Trump and also calls for white farmers to relocate to Russia. Here are some interesting facts. Russian President Putin went to church and prayed for his friend, US President Trump, following his assassination attempt in 2024. Special Envoy Witkoff says Putin also gifted Trump a special portrait by one of Russia's top artists. He had a friendship with him. Any wise bondholder will read this article, called "Sometimes You Cannot Tell People, You Can Only Show Them." On top of it all, Russia's Foreign Minister Lavrov is coming up for South Africa's minorities. The Biden administration, Ursula von der Leyen, and the Brits regularly accuse other countries of alleged human rights violations. Now it's South Africa's turn. Commodities. The strongest gold bull market in history is here. Gold is in its strongest bull market ever, yet investor sentiment remains weak. Peter Schiff warns, arguing gold mining stocks are undervalued despite the metal's historic surge. Schiff also addressed gold's resilience in the face of a strong US dollar and suggested that the currency is likely to weaken further. Gold has been rising despite the dollar's strength. Plus, the US dollar is far more likely to weaken. The Economist emphasized that as long as gold stays near $3,000, gold mining stocks should outperform Wall Street's earnings expectations. According to Schiff, investors are failing to recognize the potential profitability of these assets, making them a compelling opportunity despite market hesitancy. Schiff's analysis suggests that when measured against gold, stock market performance is significantly weaker than it appears in dollar terms. His remarks reinforce his long-standing view that gold is a superior store of value, particularly in times of economic uncertainty. Payment systems. The following is fundamental to understanding ripple shifts towards a bank funding model. Brad Garlinghouse recently signaled that he was planning on shifting the goals of XRP's funding model. This move will shift XRP from a private company to a public company. A public company is one whose shares are traded on a public stock market, meaning anyone can buy and sell its stock, and it's required to disclose financial information publicly. Note Ripple's most recent moves this past week being traded on the futures market. When Ripple shifts its funding model to a banking-focused approach, it will mean a greater emphasis on institutional adoption of XRP, potentially leading to increased liquidity and price stability, as well as a more regulated environment for XRP's use. A bank funding model refers to the strategies and methods a bank uses to raise the money, funds, it needs to operate and lend, typically through deposits, borrowing, and other financial instruments. A funding model is A systematic approach an organization uses to establish a reliable and sustainable revenue base to support its operations, programs, and services. It involves identifying and strategically leveraging various funding sources, such as government grants, individual donations, or corporate sponsorships. A government grant is a financial award from a federal, state, or local government authority, typically for a beneficial project or program that doesn't need to be repaid, unlike a loan. Question: is XRP about to be given liquidity to move forward? Government grants are designed to support projects or programs that benefit the public, such as education, research, infrastructure, or social services. A funding model utilizing XRP, such as Ripple's on-demand liquidity system, can allow banks to receive and provide liquidity, facilitating faster and cheaper cross-border payments. Banks utilize various funding models to obtain the necessary capital to finance their operations and lending activities, including relying on deposits, borrowing in the money and capital markets, and even creating their own funding through lending. Ripple's new funding model has shifted the company's liquidity, receiving, and giving to a banking funding model. Ripple has just positioned itself for cross-border trading, Forex, in the new digital asset-based trading system. It is now moving into a standardized, regulated protocol. It will be able to complete settlement trades of stable coins and other tokenized assets on the market going forward. President Trump calls on Congress to urgently pass the crypto stablecoin legislation. I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common sense rules for stablecoins and market structure, he stated, framing the move as a critical step in a broader technological revolution. If the crypto stablecoin legislation, such as the Genius Act, is passed, it would establish a regulatory framework for payment stablecoins in the US, leading to bank-like regulation for issuers and a clearer path for their use in financial transactions. The stablecoin legislation will also define who may issue stablecoins, including non-bank entities and federal and state-chartered banks. And it requires proof of reserves to be verified on a monthly basis. If it is a gold-backed stablecoin, then the institution must have enough gold to back the coin and the reserve will be scrutinized monthly. This is the start of the crucifixion of the cabal's fiat system. Therefore, Trump's urgency. The Seven Kingdoms. Full ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. Pretty soon. Trump. Negotiations on dividing up the lands are ongoing as we speak. Question: have you noticed countries buying gold instead of the dollar to prepare them for this transition into a new economy? That sums up your Saturday news. See you tomorrow.